Hey there, I'm Eitan, and welcome back to the Wix Wiz. Today's video is about a new open source platform or tool that I'm really excited to share with you guys that I've been playing around with over the past few weeks. And it is called Flowise AI. And this is really going to help those people who are looking to create an AI chatbot that kind of knows their business or can do complex things beyond just what the OpenAI ChatGPT can do. And the way that this Flowise AI works is it's essentially a UI for another open source project called LangChain. So if you haven't heard of LangChain, LangChain is a package. It can work on Python, it can work on JavaScript, and it's open source. And essentially, it allows you to create complex agentic AI applications, whether it's just kind of a question answer or something more like a chatbot. And when I say agentic, it means that it can do more actions than just kind of get a question and spit out random text answers. It can do something behind the scenes. It can interact with other third-party APIs or third-party data and stuff like that. And so LangChain is built completely behind the scenes, so it would run on a server. And you would need to kind of know a lot of coding in order to be able to work with LangChain. But Flowise, essentially what it does is it takes LangChain and it gives it a UI. It gives it kind of an interface that you can use in order to build these complex agentic AI chatbots just with drag and drop, essentially. I won't go ahead and say that it's extremely easy. There still is some understanding of how AI chatbots are built and work that needs to go into creating them, but it definitely makes it a lot more accessible for people without a coding background. So the way to get Flowise, just before I actually hop in and show how it works, is you can go to GitHub and find their AI, their Flowise AI repository, and you can fork that repository, and you can either deploy it locally, or you can deploy it to a server, which is what I've done here essentially. So I have my own server running on Render, and I bought this domain, whizbizchat.com, and I deployed it for free to this playground subdomain. And I'm going to leave this playground open, so that means that if you are not really sure how to deploy your own instance of Flowise AI, you're welcome to visit this URL, playground.whizbizchat.com, and build your own chatbots here. Just please do note that this is an open playground. So that means that anything that you build here will be accessible on the internet by anybody on the internet. And your chatbots can easily be either deleted by someone else or viewed by someone else. So it's really just for playing around and learning. It's not where you're going to want to host, something serious that you're using for your business. It's not where you're going to want to upload any kind of sensitive information. In terms of API keys, I don't think that it'll give other people access to your API keys because those can, I don't think you can copy them once they're in a workflow, but again, use at your own risk. I definitely don't recommend doing anything that has any long-term repercussions here in the playground, but I do hope that it helps people who are interested in learning a little bit about Flowise kind of use it. So I think that's enough background in order to get started. So in terms of using Flowise, when you get to this kind of home screen dashboard of the UI, you can go here and click Add New, and this will essentially start a new canvas for a new chat flow. And what we're going to do here is we're going to start off, you have lots of different nodes that you can add in order to kind of create these chatbots, and I'm going to introduce some of the ones that I particularly like and use and think are very useful. So first of all, I'm going to add in a conversational agent. Okay, and this is kind of going to be the end of my flow. And you can see here it's really easy, just drag and drop. And this conversational agent is what it sounds like. It's an agent that's meant to have a conversation with you, so similar to ChatGPT. But here we have the option to give it different superpowers in terms of how it works, and those are the tools and the memory. So if I go here, before I get to the tools and the memory, first we're going to have to add a language model. And so this supports multiple LLMs, not only OpenAI. I'm going to use OpenAI because that's what I am more familiar with. So if we go here to LLMs, you'll see we have a bunch of options. And I'm going to use OpenAI, but I'm not going to use the OpenAI that's over here. So if I drag this OpenAI in, you'll see that this is using DaVinci. So this is not using one of the GPT models. It's not using one of the chat models, essentially. So those are the models that are meant to be used with this conversational agent. So this would be good for other tasks here in Flowise, but it's not really a good fit for this conversational agent. So what we're going to need to add is we're going to need to, and you can search here as well. So OpenAI, and I'm looking for the chat OpenAI. Okay, so I drag in this this node right over here, and what I need to do is I need to put my OpenAI API key right over here. So I have it copied. I'm just going to copy paste my OpenAI API key, and that's it. This node is set up. I mean, you can change the model if you want. You could change temperature. You could change a few of the additional parameters. But this is really enough for us to get started and have it working. And then I just need to kind of drag this line here across and connect it to language model. So this is the language model that's powering this conversational agent at the moment. The next thing is we're going to add is memory. And also for memory, we have several different options. So if we go over here to memory, you can see we have buffer memory. We can have Redis, Zep. To be honest, I've only really played around with this buffer memory. Okay, and this basically will just store it locally. Okay, so it's like a temporary memory. It's not something that'll be stored long term. And then you just need to drag this right over here and connect it to the memory. And the last thing that we can add is tools. And this is where things start getting cool. So here we have a long list of tools and like, for example, a calculator. Okay, so we all know that ChatGPT is not so great at doing math, but if I go ahead and I drag this calculator here and I connect this to the allowed tools, then I'll have a chatbot that is supposedly better at doing math. Okay, and if I drag, for example, this web browser, then I will have a chatbot that can browse the web. And let me show you how that works. So if I connect this web browser here, this web browser node also needs a language model and embeddings. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to look for that OpenAI language model again. And this is actually a great use for the DaVinci. So I'm going to drag this in. And you can always like zoom out and kind of have more room to work on your canvas. So I have this right over here. And I'm also going to add in the embeddings of OpenAI. And embeddings, for those of you who are not familiar, embeddings are used for vectorizing strings, I guess you can say. And it's basically to translate and give meaning to different things, because I'm assuming the way the web browser thing works is it kind of splits it up into different chunks, and then okay, you know what, I actually don't, I'm not sure how this tool works, to be honest. I don't want to guess it. I can talk more to the embeddings when we get to the part about Pinecone, which I'm sure you all are waiting for. But basically we connect the embeddings over here and we connect this over here, and we just need to not forget to put in our API key. So I'm going to put in, and you can use the same OpenAI API key for all of these. And great, so now we have a conversational agent who is connected to a calculator and connected to the web. So let's see if this works and how it works. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to save, and I'm going to give it a name. So this is going to be my Wix demo. And now that that's saved, we can actually interact with the flow that we built here using this kind of built-in chat right over here. So I'm going to say, hi, how can I help? So let's start with a math question. So what is 200 plus 4? 204. Okay, so the calculator is working. And if you ask ChatGPT that, it might know the answer, it might not. But that's math. That's math for you, and it's working. So that's great. Um, I will say at this point that this is quite a new technology. So it's an open source and it's quite young. And I know that they are pushing updates very often. So, there might be small bugs, there might be things that are going to be fixed in the next edition. I already know that there's an even newer instance than the one that you're seeing here that can be updated, where I think that the API keys can be stored inside of the environment instead of having to input them into each node. So yeah, so this is really a technology that's developing quite quickly. So you really need to stay on top of it, and also don't get discouraged if something is not working. I think they also have a Discord server where you can reach out with questions and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's just a side note here. But this time it did work, so all's good. Great. Okay, so we got that. And now I want to give it a question where it needs to kind of search the internet. So let me ask it about the Wix Wiz. So the Wix Wiz is not on, like, it's online. It is online, but it's not pre 2021, when that's the end of the memory of ChatGPT. Okay, so what I could say is, like, what is the wixwiz.com? And since it has access to the web, what it should do is go and navigate to that website and see what's on that website. So let's ask that question. And obviously this takes a little more time because, it has to search the web, it has to kind of take the information from that web page, scrape it. Okay, the Wix Wiz is an expert team that specializes in custom code solutions for Wix websites and web apps. They offer a range of services, including blah, blah, blah. And we have a YouTube channel, and this is the link to the website. Okay, so basically this chatbot can now, if you give it a URL, if you tell it where to look, then it can go online and it can find that information. But can be made even better. And we can also give our chatbot the ability to search the web. Okay, because this web browser is not searching the web, it's just kind of a browser. So it means it can, like, look at a web page and see what's on it. But if I go here and I look for example, in tools, I look for the either SERP AI or SERPer. I'm going to choose SERPer. It's basically an API that allows you to search Google. Okay, so I'm going to put this right over here with my tools, and you can see this gets big, kind of quickly. And I have my SERPer account over here. You can open one for free, and you have, I think, 2,500 API calls maybe a month. You just copy over your API key and head back here, and I'm going to put in my API key. So now I should have a chatbot that can also search the web. So if I go, and you have to make sure to save. Okay, so anytime you make a change here, you have to save in order to load uh, um, uh, the newest changes into this interactive chatbot here. Otherwise, you'll be interacting with the unsaved version, which wouldn't include the changes that you made. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to erase the previous conversation. And now let's ask it to search the web. So let's say search the web for the top 10 Wix related YouTube channels and write a short summary for each one. And I imagine that it'll take it some time to do that, because now what it has to do, it has to go make an API call to SERPer, give it the query, tell it to search for those YouTube channels, search, and we could check actually later what the actual past tool response server can help you with any specific need about Wix related YouTube channels. Okay. Let's just ask more general questions. So what are the top 10 Wix related YouTube channels? I don't know if you guys hear the siren in the background, but that is New York City. Welcome to New York. Cool. Let's see if this is searching. And you can go actually, while this is working, you can go to your Serper tool and you can go to the dashboard and you can see the requests. And you can see, where can I see oh, here, logs maybe. Yeah, so you can see here the actual queries that are being made. So I don't see, yeah, so it looks like it didn't actually make a query to the Serper API this time. Yeah, so um, it did give some examples of YouTube tutorials, not channels. Let's see if I could kind of force it to do the Serper um, search. Let's see. Um, search Google for top 5 Wix agencies. I don't expect to be on them, but let's see. I'm really just trying to get it to force it to use Serper because basically, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, my bad, my bad, my bad. Okay, this is like low-key embarrassing. Maybe some of you noticed it maybe about 3 minutes ago, and you've been like shouting at your screen, like you didn't connect it to the tools. So if you've been shouting at the screen for the past 3 minutes, then you can leave a comment below and just let me know that you caught on earlier than I did. But basically, I didn't attach this tool. Okay, so it didn't have access to the tool when I was asking the questions, and that's why it didn't know what it was doing. So I'm going to save. Don't forget to save. I'm going to erase the previous conversation. And now I'm going to ask it the original thing that I wanted. So search Google for the top 10 Wix related YouTube videos and give a summary of each one. And now I misspelled each, but now what should happen is that it should give a query to Google. And if I'm not mistaken, just because you connect a certain tool, it doesn't mean it's always going to use that tool. So basically, it has built, okay, it found a summary of the Wix platform. Let's see if there was a query. Yeah, so here you can see the query, top 10 Wix related YouTube videos, but it didn't really take that into account over here. So just in the same way that you are kind of using your OpenAI integrations and you give certain instructions and you set up kind of certain logic, in the same way, you need to play around here. What might help is, for example, if I go to additional parameters, I can give it a system message. So for example, like I can say, you are a chatbot for finding the best YouTube videos for a certain topic. Search Google based on the user's query and provide 5 links to recommended videos. Okay, that sounds like a good instruction. And don't forget again to save. And then we can erase our previous conversation. And then I can say, what is Velo? And then hopefully, if this works, then the conversational agent should take its instructions, which is not that. um, yeah, it's not really what is Velo by Wix? Okay, not too bad. Yeah, so it doesn't really seem to be following my instructions very well at the moment. So, yeah, maybe you need to kind of give it a little more specific instructions in the prompt. Maybe adding some other tools here might help. But I do want to jump forward and show you another cool thing. And I know that this is something that a lot of people are interested in seeing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new chatbot. And I'm going to add in some different things. So I'm going to add in a pinecone upsert document. Okay. And this basically allows you to upsert a document to Pinecone, as is in the name. And it'll automatically chunk it for you and add it using vectors to your Pinecone database. And then you can kind of have a Q&A with that document. So I'm going to add in here, for this we need document and we need embedding. So if we go here to document, hmm, document loaders. So we have a bunch of different options here. Uh, but one of the more popular ones I think that'll be for the people watching this will be the PDF file. Okay, and essentially what this will allow you to do is to upload a PDF file over here, and then that is what the Pinecone upsert will be based off. And this file upload requires a text splitter, basically a way to chunk the PDF file into different data chunks for the upload to Pinecone, which is the vector database. And that we will need text. Let's see, text. So we have different options here for text splitters. I'm just going to choose, let's see which one we can have. Splits a raw text string by converting a text into BPE tokens. Single chunk. Let's see what that one will do. Yeah, so they've, depending on what you're trying to actually split, let's see, character text splitter, so it could split by different characters. Code text splitter, cursively. Yeah, so basically we can use this character text splitter and it should split whenever there's a new paragraph by default. Okay, that was the kind of the \n. So if we don't put a separator here, it should split by whenever there's a new paragraph, which is a pretty good logic. And we can do chunk size of, let's say, 500 and overlap of 100. And then we can connect our text splitter right over here. So that's in terms of what we need before the pinecone. And after pinecone, what we're going to need is we're going to need this retriever here, which will be our Q conversational retrieval multi-vector DBA QA chain. No, I think that's the one we want. Yeah, so here I'm going to connect it to this is our vector store. Oh no, so this is only for, that's not what I was looking for. So you see there's a lot, there's a lot of tools here. Um, and each one works like a little differently. Where's that thing that I was looking for? Chat, let's see, agents. No, chains. retrieval Q&A chain. That's what I was looking for. So this is the vector store retriever. And here we're going to need our pine. So here, before we deal with the pinecone, we're going to need to set up our index in pinecone. So I already have a pinecone account. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create a new index. I'll just call it Wix demo. And this is going to be on a free. And so for dimensions, what I like to use here is the dimensions that that OpenAI has by default, which is, I always forget, OpenAI dimensions. I'm searching Google now. 1,536 dimensions for their vectors. Wow, that's a lot of dimensions. And cosine is basically how it compares the vectors. So how it decides if one vector is similar to another vector. And I'm going to go ahead and create that index. Okay. I'm not going to create the index because I'm only allowed one free index. So I'm going to trash my other index, which I don't need right now. I was just playing around with it. And I'm going to create a new index, Wix demo. Awesome. Great. So I created my new index, which is Wix demo. And then I can go ahead and I can copy over some stuff from here. So I'll need my API key, of course. I'm going to go ahead and copy that and head back to Flowise. And this is Pinecone API key. The next thing we're going to need is the environment, which is this right over here. And the last thing we're going to need is the index, which is Wix Velo. And there are other options for vector databases except for Pinecone. I'm just using Pinecone as an example, but you can check out, there are other options as well. Last thing, what we need to do here is connect the language model, which I didn't do yet. So I'm going to connect and the embeddings. So let's add in a LLM, and we're going to add in OpenAI, and I'll also add in the embeddings, OpenAI embeddings. So let's zoom out a bit. I'll add these here on the bottom. And this embeddings needs to be connected over here. And this needs to be connected over here. And we're going to need our OpenAI API key for both of them. So I'm just going to paste it in right over there. Okay, awesome. So this looks pretty good. Last but not least, I'm going to upload a file. And I am going to usage. Not sure what this. There's a lot of settings here. I won't say that I'm like a Flowise expert by any means. And you know, it could be that this is something that they added. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what every single setting here is. But if we upload a file, and I'm going to upload here a file which is the Wix quarterly report for 2023. And then we're going to see if we can have a conversation with that. So I'm going to go into here and I am going to save, of course. Don't forget to save. So this is going to be PDF chatbot. And I'm going to go ahead and save, and let's chat with it. And the first time that we chat with it, it might take a little longer because it actually is going to upload this PDF to Pinecone. But I think after that, it'll cache it, and then the conversations should be a little quicker. So let's say, what were Wix's earnings in 2023? And if we go here, the cool thing is that we can go here now to this failed. Why did you fail? Oh, I wrote here Wix Velo in the index, but I had named it Wix Demo. I just remembered. So there's always a good reason. There's always a good reason. Demo and save. And I'm going to copy this question, and then I'm going to clear it. And let's try asking that again. And Wix reported a net loss of 10,369,000 in 2023. So I'm going to fact check that in a second. But first, I want to go here to my Pinecone and go to the index and then go into the index and see. Yeah, so I don't see that did an upsert happen here at all? Yeah, okay, so here, you can see here that I have 23 vectors now in my database, which it started off at 0, and you can see here that there was an upsert that was happening. Green is upsert, so there was an upsert that was happening over the past few seconds. And the PDF file is not so big, so it happened rather quickly. If you have larger PDF files or multiple PDF files, it could maybe possibly take it a little longer. But I will open up that PDF file now, and um, let's see if there's anything like that written in the PDF file about losses. Okay, net loss 10,369. So that obviously it was just the first quarter, but if we go back, that is the exact number that our chatbot found, and it would not have known that. It would not have known that without that document, that is for sure. Yeah, let's see if we can ask it another question. So let's see if there's another cool question we can ask it here from um, let's see how is Wix using AI? Let's ask it that. Using AI. Is using AI to reduce friction. And I'm sure if I search for that over here, let's see, friction. Yep. With today's we have a tremendous opportunity to reduce friction, blah, blah, blah. So basically it gave an exact quote from this PDF. Okay, so essentially we created a chatbot that is interacting with this PDF. Okay, so we demonstrated a few of the capabilities, and it's really just the tip of the iceberg in terms of Flowise. And now we have to get to how do we actually get this to be on our website? Because that's what I know everybody wants. There are a few options. So if you go over here and you click on the upper right, then you see how you can integrate this with your website. So first of all, you can get this embed. And basically it'll allow you to embed a chatbot, kind of like the one we were using, into your website using, let's say, an iframe or something like that. I don't think this is the best option for Wix because it might be a little hard to place on a specific place on the page. So if you put in an iframe, the sizing might be awkward. If you put it in custom code, then you'll have to add probably a lot of CSS to try and position it, if possible, even. So yeah, so you kind of, or actually, if you place it anywhere in the body tag, it might just pop up exactly where you want it on the bottom right, let's say. That might be the default. Um, so here there's a little more config that you can kind of go in and configure. So, okay, it might not be as big as a hassle as I thought. The other options would be to use it as like an API. So if you go here to JavaScript, then you can essentially um, write some server code on your website that will fetch the responses from. So you'd send in a query with a question, and then it would run that chatbot on the cloud, assuming that you've deployed it to your own server, and then get a response for you. And you can also go ahead and you can set up API keys. So if you could have a default key, or you can add API keys, and then you have to kind of secure your chatbot. Let's say you're creating chatbots for other people, and you want them to have sole access or something like that. So what I've done, and what I'm going to be showing you today, is I've actually added the ability to integrate Flowise into our native Wix chat solution. So if you guys are familiar and you saw some of our previous videos, then you know that we have this Native Wix Chat AI. So basically, it takes the Wix Chat and it turns it into an AI chatbot. Currently, until now, it was working strictly on OpenAI and a prompt given by the user. Sorry, by the business owner who sets it up. But in beta mode now, it can also be connected to Flowise. And the way that it works is that first, you're going to need to take your Flowise API key and put it right over here. So for example, in this chatbot I just built, let's say we're going to use the default API key. So that would be this right over here. So I'm going to go and take that and add it to our secret manager right over here. So I'm going to retrieve the value and I'm going to replace it with this new API key. And the next thing that we need is just this URL. Okay, this is the URL to this specific chatbot. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it right over here. And this Wix Chat AI solution, so it's a lot of the code that I demonstrated in one of the previous videos of how to integrate AI into Wix Chat. But essentially what we've done is we've taken it, we've wrapped it inside of a Wix block to make the integration just a lot simpler. And this Wix block, so if you go over here, custom apps, you can see this is the native chat AI block that's installed. And right over here, if I go to our packages, then you can see that there's a config file where you can set up different things regarding the chat settings. And previously you can, you still can set up like AI model, AI temperature tokens if you're using OpenAI. Business response time is just how long. This is also quite a new feature that we added in. Short advertisement. So this is also a feature that we added in that allows the business to interject in the middle. So if the business sends a response to the customer, then it'll pause the AI for a certain period of time to allow kind of like a natural interaction between the business and the customer. And here's what we're really here for today, which is use Flowise true and the Flowise endpoint. So I can just copy my Flowise chatbot URL and put it right here instead of this endpoint. Okay. And now what this will do essentially is change my native Wix chat to be a chatbot based off of my Flowise flow, my Flowise workflow that I built just now in the cloud. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to publish this. Okay, so I've switched over to an incognito tab and kind of moved myself to the other side just to show you how this works now. So this is that deployment of the native Wix Chat AI with the Flowise integration. And here I'm just going to give it a similar question to what we were asking before. So did Wix earn money in the first quarter of 2023? Okay. Yeah, so Wix earned money in the first quarter. Total revenue was 374.1 million. So let's just fact check that with our PDF. So let me switch back to our other browser. And let me head back to the PDF page. And let's see. Oh, there we go. First line. Okay. Total revenue of 374.1 million. Congrats, Wix. Yeah, so basically now our chatbot inside of our Wix website, our native Wix chat, can essentially answer questions from our PDF. Obviously, it's not perfect yet. There were still some things where I wasn't so hot about, like the answers were kind of short. And there are other agents essentially or chains that we can use that will give us more control over the responses that we're getting. This is just really a very basic setup. But yeah, I just wanted to introduce this tool to you guys because I think it's super cool. and I think it could really supercharge any chatbot, whether it's built into Wix or not. And as I said, this playground will be open, so just go to playground.wizbizchat.com and you can play around with Flowise. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.